All right, everybody, we got a Tuesday night, and I thought this would be a good time to give some updates. I'm at a somewhat critical point here, so I wanted to catch it before I get too much done. So as you guys can see, we got the door completed. So that is the EPS expanded polystyrene panels wrapped in a fabric called duck, and then they're inserted in those door gaps there, so that way the door is insulated, and of course it provides a cosmetic finish to it. And this is the little trim ring that surrounds the for that porthole. It turned out pretty clean. It was had to take a little bit of figuring, a little rough around this edge here. I'll try to smooth that out, but for the most part it's I'm pretty happy with it, not too bad. I'm sure most of you know, but EPS panel, we got a wide angle here, looks like this. So it's got the aluminum face on it and the little company sticker. It's basically like styrofoam. So just as a recap, last week, sorry, I got all my tools in here. I've been putting away in here. Bed surface and that wall is sheathed in cedar. And since the last update, I've actually put 2 coats of a water-based poly. That doesn't yellow it as much. I normally do, I normally do an oil finish on all of the interior cedar. And I just thought to change it up a little bit. And I don't know if I necessarily like one or the other better. Just a little different. The water-based poly gives it just a little bit of a different look, but I like it. Yes, I know the bed surface there, you know, Dave, you could scratch up off all your tools, and I'm not trying to damage it on purpose, but, you know, you got to keep in mind that's going to be covered with a mattress here, which is actually up there here shortly, so I'm not too worried about it. But as you guys can see, so the cedar wall there, which I talked about last week, that's kind of an accent wall, so to speak. But as I've done in many of my other campers, you guys can see looking up there at those front walls, and there's a couple others throughout the camper. I'm using that EPS fabric, the EPS insulating panels, 1.5 inch thick, to fill those voids, and then they're wrapped in that same fabric as the door. The exposed wooden frame members, I'm gonna put some trim pieces on that later. But I really like how those panels turn out. I like that contrast, and I think it literally looks good with the cedar too, the natural cedar. It's kind of a nice mix of you know, more of a modern look and an old look. What I did is I spent one day and cut all of the individual EPS panels for all the different voids that are going to be filled in. So there's voids on the bottom, the side, all of the walls. Most of the cutting I used one of these, what do they call them, a hot knife. This does pretty good for cutting the EPS panels, and it also helps avoid getting a little fuzzies. It's just an Amazon one. I bought this a long time ago. It's worked out well. But that little metal knife portion, I guess you would call it, that protrudes, heats up, and it just melts right through. I did cut a few things on the saw, especially if I just needed to make a quick cut. So it does produce a lot of fuzzy, so I do try to use a hot knife, but you know, you can also cut it on a saw too. I'm sure it probably dulls out the blade or something, but at this point, at the end of every project, I change out all my blades, and we're getting pretty close, so I'm not too worried. But moving to the inside, so of course you guys can see, got some of those covered panels. We've got some that aren't covered, and I've talked to you guys before. This is going to be this main workstation over here on the driver's side. Let me put this on a tripod and we'll come at a different angle. Okay, guys. So this is a new design idea that I'm using in this particular camper, and it's going to be kind of like a secretary desk. And I'm showing you guys now before I get it all together, so that way you can kind of see the framing. Now this is just a mock-up, but what this is going to do is this would represent the door for the secretary desk portion. So you just bear with me for imagination here. Imagine this door is snapped into place. And then if you wanted to have a desk surface, the door would come down, This right here is 18 inches. I'm still kind of playing around if I want to make it longer or not, because I'm thinking this is a nice length, and of course I'll run the full width between these two pillars here. But you can just kind of imagine this would give you this broad desk surface. Now inside of this cavity, there'll be a desktop here also. And I haven't made up my mind, but I think I'm going to run kind of bungee, you know, like one of those little shot cord bungees, kind of along the walls here. That way you can kind of stuff things that you'd have access. And then in the upper portion, I'll put in a shelf. And then as you guys can probably see back here, this is a little cubby that leads into the cab over storage. I'll probably block off a little section of it, but I haven't made up my mind on that. Maybe I'll just put a net too. I haven't. Anyways, my point being is, you open up this area, you not only have a desk surface so far to here, but you also have a desk surface / storage in the internal section. You'll have a little shelf and you'll have a little cubby, just nice and neat. And then this door will snap up like this. Then you guys notice there's a little bit of a gap here. This will be a second door. So if you wanted to, you could, and this is sized just right, that you could flip this up and it would snap up here, and this will be sheathed off of cedar planks. So you wanted to open up your secretary desk, you pull down your desk surface, you flip up this, you know me, probably a magnet or something, boop, sticks up there. And then, you got this big work surface, whatever it is, right? You could be typing on your computer, you could be cooking here. Imagination's the limit. And then all of this could function as storage. I mean, theoretically, you could fill up this whole area and just have this section that comes down. So it'd be like a big cabinet. I'm kind of thinking I'm going to, like I said, proportion it off. So, you kind of have stuff around the circumference. But the long and short of this is, I think this is a pretty neat idea. It's like a nice little workstation. And then when you don't need it, you fold it up and it opens up the space in here. Because this is, again, by all measures, a pretty small camper. And then over here on this surface over here, let me grab the camera and show. Okay, sorry about that. And then over here, so over here is what I was just talking about. Over here, this will be a planked countertop, and then the sink isn't going to be exactly oriented at exactly its position, but it will be in that area right there. And then down below here, this will be a drawer, and this will be a drawer. And then right over there, in front of that, that will be a pull-off panel, which matches the fascia of these drawers. It's a pull-off panel because, of course, the sink's there and you can't have the drawer in there. But I'll have, it'll be an open area for some other storage. So, but yeah, guys, the interior, I'm making a lot of progress. Again, as you guys can see over here by the AC, we've got the fabric-covered panels. I love that combination of the cedar, that dark brown, and the blue. I'm really liking this space. I think it's turning out real nice. So let me know what you guys think, and thanks for watching.